Hey everyone, it's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you're at work, in the car, wherever you are, we hope you enjoy the show. Please give it a like and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, TuneIn Radio, or Google Play, or wherever you can find it, so that you can get all the weekly Geocache Talk goodness. Big thanks to the Travel Bugs for the music and our patrons, Doug Jones, Joshua and Caleb Slinkard, Tom Brotherman, Joshua, the geocaching vlogger, Nick Hubbard, Andrew Tiepkin, Cecilia Perez, Sydney Sawyer, Valena Mahar, Jane Jewell, Memphis Mafia, Craig Michelle, the Geo Gearheads, Zach Fick, the Deadliest Cachers, Tim Terrell, Neil Moore, Molly the Geocaching Dog, Dee and David Vickery, Geocaching Adam, Lori Post, Peter Stepanek, the No Code Geocachers, Paula Hughes, Ed Shaper, John Langston, and our new patron from down under. We got another Aussie. We got Scott Thompson on our patrons now. If you'd like to become a patron, yay! If you'd like to become a patron, head on over to patreon.com/geocache talk for more details. Patrons get path tags, coins pretty soon, maybe, and other geocaching swag during the year, as well as invites to special events only for patrons. And we'll try to do one more GC World before the holidays kick in. So that gives Jesse a chance to defend his title as GC.
That sounds good. I like that.
GC Master. He is the master of GC World. Support levels start at as little as $3 a month. Well, let me start by welcoming my co-host, Sydney.
Hello, everybody.
And Jesse.
Good evening, everybody.
And let's jump right in, to show number 61 for August 6th. As we welcome back to the show, Docfirewoman. Welcome back to Geocache Talk.
Hey, guys. I'm glad to be back.
It's been a while. You were on... what's funny is you were on show... I'd have to go look. Show 2 or 3?
Mm-hmm, 2 or 3.
Yes, Sydney was on... But what's funny was that Deborah and I recorded that ahead of time because of things that we won't
name.
We won't mention it, but events that we were planning to go to, and so
events transpired.
Yes, well, it worked out. It worked out. We recorded it. It ended up becoming a show, and it worked out great. So that was a lot of fun. That was a year ago. So we're glad you're back, and we got an interesting topic tonight. We'll get to here in a moment. We're going to talk a little geocaching news. So let's start with a Mary Hyde update. How is everybody doing with the pirate theme this year?
I found one cache this week.
Is that...
Me too. I found one.
That works. I went to an event, so
there you go.
That satisfies it.
There you go. Okay. Well, what'd y'all think of this week? We had 35 coins.
Yeah.
35 points for the whole group, though, right?
35 points for the whole group. Yeah, for all your friends.
If you did anything,
yeah,
anything at all, your group got it.
Anything.
Yeah. Not a DNF, I guess. That wouldn't do it. But if you found anything or attended anything, you got it.
Yeah.
But they did add the multi in, which was kind of neat.
Yeah. So it's So, but 35 coins.
Not a lot.
What?
Overall,
maybe it's hard. I don't know.
I had some individual people on my list that had like hundreds.
Yeah,
yeah.
me
themselves.
Oh yeah,
me too. Yeah, I had 5. I'm proud of my 5. I'll take it.
That's right.
But last week I had 75. So.
Oh, there you go.
And I think how it works is it's just the top 10 is your group, right? Of all the people you're friends with. They don't pick the normal people. It's just any 10 that you're friend with, so the top 10. So as long as the top 10 people that you're friended with, or 7 or whatever it is, have done something, you got it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They
changes each week, I think.
Yeah, they rank all your friends based on how many they get. So
yeah. Okay.
So overall, what are everybody's thoughts about this before we move on to? Because we got 2 more weeks? Is that correct? I can't remember.
Yeah. Well, I think next week is the last. Is it the last one? I don't know.
Yeah, it's the last one. There's only 4 of them.
Get this week's souvenir on this coming Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that'll be 3.
Right. So there's next week will be the last week.
Okay.
3.
Yeah.
So there's 4. But if you think there's going to be something, we've got to put all those pieces together and figure something out.
It looks that way.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? It's like the pie day when they had the 2 pieces of pie and they had a GC code for that. So
I mean, it kind of reminds me, and I know y'all have probably already said this, it reminds me of last year's a lot. And I realize that you can only do, there's only so many things that you can do. And anything to keep from doing 31 days of geocaching again.
Oh, gosh, yes.
That wore me out. I mean, I was like, by the time I was done, I was like, ah!
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's I like the collaborative aspect of it a lot. So
I'd say it's lame, but so it's lame, but has the potential to be a really good thing in the future. If they're just testing it out to see if it works, because they added in the multis, they did the events. I like all that stuff. It would be a lot more fun if you or even if it just brought your team only to your regional people, maybe, or if you selected the people. I think that would be a lot more fun in the future if you got to kind of set up a team a little bit. But they're trying a few different things, and if they expanded it and made some different levels, I think it could be something really good. Right now, it's hard, unless you're just absolutely not caching, it's hard not to get it. But maybe that's the idea, right, to introduce everybody to it.
Right.
Yep. Well, we like the attempt, so we're hoping for good things in the future. So positive. It's
an attempt.
Positive feedback. We like it. They're making So we're good with it. We're good with Mary Hyde this year. We're excited. Just a quick reminder about the August giveaway. We're giving away this. Somebody's having a lot of fun over that. That's you, Deborah.
Well, that's me. I'm trying to figure out if there's somebody here or if they're just barking.
Okay.
We have a guest with our guest.
Yeah, they're looking for. All right, so we're giving away treasure. Hopefully.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, we're trying to give it away, but we need people to do the. All right, I'm gonna mute you for the moment, Deborah. There we go. I had to mute you for a moment. If you want to go check on that, we'll let you go do that real quick while we do a little bit of this. No problem. But we need people to do iTunes reviews. You don't have to go. You don't have to write a dissertation. I mean, come on. Just get out there, and you might be the only person that does one. In which case, you might just by default get you a Blu-ray of Treasure. So, hey, go do a quick review on iTunes for us. That would be fabulous. So there you go. That's for this just for August, and we'll give it away. Probably we'll tell you who the winner is in first week in September. So that is that. Deborah, you good to come back? Okay, just unmute yourself at the top of the screen there. You should be able to. There you go.
They were just telling me the coyotes were out there.
Oh, okay. They're letting you know something you kind of already probably knew, but they don't know. They're trying to be helpful.
Well, I am glad they are helpful because, we had the curious incident last Monday night with people coming up at the house. So we're thankful. We're thankful.
That's good. Next item on the news is, what do you know? A bomb scare. What a surprise.
No
but
way.
There's a twist to this one. It's not just a random bomb scare, a geocaching bomb scare. So, Jesse?
So, after my LEO encounter, finally, now I get an even deeper kind of LEO encounter. But, so the other evening, I got a phone call from one of the members of the local bomb squad, and they said, "Hey," because I know the people at the police department. Obviously, that's where I retired from. They said, "Hey, can you look up where those geocache things are?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's going on?" They're like, "Our bomb squad is rolling out to the local sculpture park. We're kind of curious." I was like, "Okay, where's it at?" And they described it, and immediately I knew there wasn't supposed to be one there because I've, you know, kind of cashed out that area, but there was one close by. So I thought, well, maybe it's close and got moved or something. So, I went out there to where they were and looked it up. I said, there's one here that's kind of close to where you are. Is this where you are? And so I went out there and they've got it all taped off and the bomb squad truck's there and everything else. And I was like, well, here's one. It's like 140 feet away. Maybe it just got moved. So I go out there and I'm just like 1 foot outside the yellow tape. And I was like, I can check and see if it's here. And I was thinking I was going to find it in the one, because I'd found the cache close by. And I get over there and the cache was still there. So there's like 100 feet away is this thing that they found that they're going to possibly blow up. Like, no, there's a geocache right here. So that's not it. So it turns out it was a PVC, like a pipe bomb,
looking
wrapped in camo duct tape, sitting on top of a statue about 100 feet away from where a geocache is. So they bring out all the equipment. They're like, back out. That's not it. So they bring out all the equipment and they take this X-ray machine. You know, they got the big suit and the helmet, Darth Vader stuff walking out there. Oh, yeah. And they X-ray it and they're like, okay, it looks like you know, there's a tube inside it, but there's nothing we can detect as explosives. Yeah. So they finally, you know, they back out, they get all the equipment and open it up, and it's a geocache. The odd thing about it is it's not supposed to be there.
Right.
Because when they opened it and they looked it up, I was able to, it was an archived geocache. But it had the name of it. So I looked it up, found out it was archived. But it was supposed to be on the other side of the city. So somebody took it from where it was, moved it all the way over there and set it on top of this statue in the middle of a public park. Now
why would they? Yeah. Why would you do that?
So immediately the two things I think is, one, you should get permission. Well, they actually did. They got permission where it was supposed to be. Somebody picked it up, moved it. But the second, you know, you probably shouldn't tape up PVC pipe. It's waterproof, but it's not really the best type of container if it gets moved around. But so it was a lot of scare, and it was interesting. I thought I was just going to get to walk up. Oh, it's a geocache.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's close to a geocache. Let me get out of here. So,
yeah.
It was cool. Right after my other LEO scare, I get to, you know, or LEO encounter, I get to come out and with the actual bomb squad on a real geocache. So that was kind of fun.
That's crazy.
There was a little moment where I was like, uh-oh. Like, whoa, what did I get myself into? But I got out of there quickly. So, but it was all safe. It was good. But somebody thought they were being funny, I guess, and caused a big scare and moved the geocache over where in a public area.
Of all things to move it over. I mean, it's an archive cache that gets that's weird. It's just weird.
It had just been archived like recently. So okay. I don't know if somebody found it and moved it thinking they were being funny or what happened. But I mean, it was like 5 miles from where it should be.
Right.
So somebody intentionally took it and moved it.
That's even more bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure it's a kid or something, you know.
Yeah.
But it was enough to get a lot of people interested and shut down some streets for a little bit.
Right. Are you out there handing out Geotalk business cards? Hey, we have a show about this. Just come watch the show. We'll talk about it. There you go.
So in hindsight, those cachers did everything right, except the final container should have been, you know, something that doesn't look like it could be a pipe bomb if it gets moved. So
exactly. Yeah, no, that's good. No, very interesting. Oh, good.
It was fun either way, though.
Yeah. We're getting more mail. I really appreciate everybody emailing us. We've had some great Tick Magnet sent us a great email. We've had a lot of good emails. So keep it coming. And so I happen to pick one out for tonight to just talk about for a moment. And so keep it coming. We read your email. We love it, and it brings warmth to our hearts to see that everybody's out there enjoying the show. We got an interesting one today, though. It's from Fab Seeker. And they wrote they said, "You're doing great. I can practice my English listening to your shows."
Oh, Lord help them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, talking with Southern drawl.
That's okay. It gets so it gets better. So they write because they're French. They say, "Actually, I do not understand everything, especially some jokes or when somebody speaks too fast. But I understand most of what you say." That's good. So what I would like to see more, they want to see more Zach finding caches in real time, and we're going to do that. We're going to get Zach some more chances to be on the show very soon, as in show 48, and other info. I'll be in the Northwest and even in Canada for a few days in 2 weeks. They're going to go to the original stash. They're going to headquarters, going to the Ape Cache, if they time themselves correctly, GCD, and many other caches on our way. Happy geocaching to all of you. So thank you so much, Fab Seeker. Hopefully last week's show, when we had on Chris of the Northwest, we talked about all those caches up in that Northwest area. Hopefully that was of great help to you. And thank you so much for listening. And hopefully we'll try to speak clearer for you. And we'll try to keep the... me and Deborah will try to, and actually Jesse too, we'll try to keep our southern draws a little bit in check tonight. And then lastly, last little quick note I want to put is Jolene and Yeno update. So I got their names correct, number one, because I messed it up telling you about it. But I actually did a quick test today with Jolene and Yeno, and it was great fun. They are Belgium geocachers. And I don't want to go into a lot of details because we got a show coming up. We'll get you all the details. But they're 7 hours different. So for that show, we're going to do it at 3 p.m. Kind of like we've done before when we had Hindle on the show or we have Sarah on the show. There's such a difference in time. We have to move the show up a little bit. But Jolene and Yeno, it's going to be fun. They got some great stories, and they have a great YouTube channel and lots of other things to talk about, including a geocaching coffee shop. So that's gonna be fun. All right, let's get into this show topic tonight. And actually, Deborah came up with this one. We didn't push her to do this topic. She wanted to do this topic, so we're into it. When is a geocaching slump not a slump? Well, Deborah, you'll appreciate this, being the great professor that you are. And we'll remind everybody what you do here in a moment. But I went and did a definition. I went and got a definition for us of what a slump is. I thought, let's get some definitions here. Let's get some info. So the definition of a slump, at least in dictionary.com, was a period of time during which a person goes without an action, without an object or action.
Like, say, going geocaching.
Yeah, a period of time. So what is that period of time?
So what is considered a slump? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I think it's relative.
Okay.
I mean, okay. So I've geocached. I went this week and did my part for the Mary Hyde thing. I went, I've gone every week and done something. But I might go 2 or 3 months and maybe only go one time. Right. But I don't consider that a slump. I just consider that I have other things to do. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's not that I'm ever not, because it says without an object or an action, but I don't agree that you have to physically go geocaching to consider that is an action. I think you can be interested in it. You can listen to podcasts about it. You can keep up with what's going on in your geocaching community. You can daydream of looking at the map and going, "Ooh, I'd really like to go do that trail and get that coin," And that's kind of what I do when I'm not able to go for, it's never not on my radar. It just may not be the highest thing on my radar. Right. So, but there are some people that would think, a week without finding one is a slump.
Jesse, in your lower third, you put that you in a slump ? So what's your thoughts on this?
So, it'll be easier to reference in a few minutes, but I have a good example of what we're going to talk about. But I guess it's, what do you consider a slump? How many days would it be for you before you considered a slump, or how many weeks? Or do you even think about it that way? I know a lot of my friends up here, they go every day and have for like 4,000 days straight. So one day for them would be a slump, but not for me. So
yeah, for me personally, I don't ever think of them in those terms. So to me, I think a slump for me would be if I was not thinking about geocaching for many weeks of a period of time. I think,
so too.
because Susan and I, we plan geocaching trips. So for me personally, now in the chat room, they're talking a slump is based on if I don't find one today, I've started a slump. So if I don't find one for 8 days, then my slump is 8 days. Interesting. Right. I don't mind that definition in a sense, because it's very objective, and the fact that it's very verifiable to myself. I can look at it and go, my slump is exactly. I can go look at statistics on geocaching.com, and I can tell you exactly how many days it's been since I've geocached. But I don't know, Sydney. What go ahead.
Go ahead, Jesse.
No, I was going to say, I think what both of you and Docfirewoman are saying is it's relative. It's different for every person. You can't look at the statistics, because if you look at our profile, our longest slump was 619 days. So, right. But that's a statistical anomaly. It's not actually accurate. So that wasn't actually a slump. But I think it depends on what you're doing. So
Sydney, what's your slump definition?
Well, I agree that in the geocaching statistics sense of the term slump would mean that you found a cache 2 days ago, but you haven't found a cache since then. That would technically, under the statistics portion, that would be a statistical slump. But in the real world sense, I think personally for me, it's, I guess, probably anything more than a week, not actually going and finding anything. But like Deborah said, that doesn't mean I'm not thinking about it. I'm not planning caches I want to hide. I'm not thinking about trips I'm going on, that kind of stuff. So.
Yes. And
I mean, it's relative. I mean, you can't compare yourself to each other. I like last fall, my buddy that I don't like to go by myself. It's just not fun to me. I want to go with people. I want to go with somebody. And last fall, my friend Carol, Pink Hitch is her geocaching name, but we go all the time. Well, she's a substitute teacher. And there was one of the teachers at the school she works, that she subs for, her son was in a really bad car accident, and so she had to take emergency leave, and so Carol worked every day.
Right.
Worked every single day, and then on the weekends, I'm committed to my horse show kid or my horse riding kids.
Right.
And she's got her Jeep. She goes jeeping on the weekends, and so it was hard for us to connect. So I went for 4 months and didn't do anything.
Right.
But we were talking about, once we both had clear schedules, the first thing we did was drive 3.5 hours to go do some geocaches in Oklahoma.
Right.
So, I mean, I didn't consider that a slump. I just went, life gets in the way sometimes.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's funny. Deborah and Pink Hitch, they drove. How many hours did you drive down to?
It was almost 5. Almost 5
hours to come to our event last year for the Great Hunt, and then drive back. And so that's geocaching dedication. Drive 5 hours, do an event, and that event wasn't easy because that is a huge park, and it is a lot of walking to get from cache to cache, because they're all along the perimeter of the park, and so it is a long route to do all those caches. And so you gals were troopers, because you did all that, stuck around for the after event, and then packed up and drove home.
Well, we did one better than that. Not last Christmas, but Christmas before. We saw some, I don't know if you follow Atlas Obscura, any of you, on Twitter or on Facebook, but it's a a site that posts unusual places. Well, they were talking about the center of the continental U.S. And Carol messaged me and said, "Hey, did you read this?" And I said, "Yeah, I wonder if there's a geocache there." Tap, 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 tap.
Right. What do you know?
There is. I left my house at 4 a.m, picked her up. We drove to the center of the United States, found the cache in the snow, turned around and came back, and I got back to my house at 5 the next morning.
Wow, that is awesome.
So I count myself as a serious geocacher if I do that, even if I don't cache every day.
Right.
So.
I don't think you have to cache every day to consider yourself a serious geocacher. I mean, there's a bunch of different styles.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it, some people would consider us in a slump right now. Technically, we haven't found a physical geocache in like 3 weeks. Now we go to events every Monday morning at 6:30. So last 2.5 weeks or so, the caches we've technically found are events, but we're still meeting with all our geocaching friends and even publish a geocache and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's important. And when I travel, I'll be honest with you, I search for virtuals and earth caches when I'm traveling, and that's what I like to do. That's my thing, And then, so like when I went on this trip to Atlanta, I stopped and got earth caches in 3 different states on my way there. Mm-hmm. And then I did a virtual on the Georgia Tech campus, and then I did Lake Lanier. That was the only actual container I found was Lake Lanier.
Right.
So.
Well, and does that, that's a style of geocaching too, right? People that do more geocaching when they're traveling, not necessarily around home as much, and that was the last time we found some as we were in a new area. So.
Yeah, that's, for us, we don't have any geocaches around us that we haven't either found or I own.
Right.
And so we have to go
out,
half an hour to get to a cache. And, we can, I mean, it's not like we, there's times when we probably could, but I guess since we're in a geocaching slump, we haven't really been out. But I've been looking for a job for the past 2 months. So Deborah, you're talking about life getting in the way. I'm head down every day trying to work on that, and I got a little temporary work which takes up the entire day. It's pretty rough work, and it's eight nonstop till 5. I'm dead tired. I got to drive back home. I'm not going caching I'm not going to drive another hour to get to a geocache for right now. But so there are other factors other than the ones we've mentioned, and I know Deborah, you put a couple of them in here. We want to at least talk about them as far as it kind of can be something that we all need to try to overcome. And something that if somebody thinks they're in a geocaching slump, and this is something we're going to kind of get into, is what are the things we can do to be encouragers to help them? And so, but you have some things that kind of would be causes of problems.
Well, this is what's been on my mind. I feel like I need to have an agony aunt column here.
Yeah, that's fine. So, what are some negative things? Go ahead. Yep.
I'm going to start with probably one of the biggest reasons why I backed off of geocaching. All 3 of you are very fortunate that your significant others either geocache with you or they are supportive of your geocaching. Because when you're with someone who is not, it becomes very difficult. And even though you all met him and he tried really hard, bless his little pointed head, he tried really hard. He didn't like it. He thought it was stupid. He thought it was a waste of time. He thought it was a waste of resources, even though I really tried hard to make sure that when we did go, it was something interesting and it was cool and it wasn't just like doing a power trail or something. He would have never gone for that. And so constantly getting the in your ear you kind of go, okay, I'm not gonna. Well, it is funny now. I mean, because he got his walking papers. He's gone.
Yeah.
So but it's the whole way back from Geo Woodstock, which I'd had a really good time at. He started on me at the event, and it was just for 12 flipping hours in the vehicle. It was just, this is so dumb, and you just blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's a felony to kill someone. But it was, it's very difficult because you want to try to do things together as a couple. And when one of the things that you enjoy doing that you thought they enjoyed doing, then you find out after the fact they think is ridiculous, it kind of takes the wind out of your sails. Sure. So having a supportive partner, even if they don't go with you, having someone who is at least, I should say, tolerant of you going is really important.
Yep.
Yep.
And then you also mentioned you have in the notes about Muggle encounters.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
If you get the police called on you, or you get screamed at enough times, that's why I don't like to cache in town. Right. I just do not like to cache in town. I guess I look like I'm up to no good. I don't know. I wear hoodies a lot. I don't know what it is. They want to call the police on me.
You're kind of suspicious.
I guess I am. I don't know. My car is very old. I guess I always look like I'm in a lot of trouble. But anyway, I kind of have just stopped caching in town unless I'm with a group.
Right.
Well, so then we go and try to cache out away from town, and there is a group of us, and we're all, middle-aged, not in the best physical shape, clearly not able to, steal anything really and get away with it. But we're trying to look for this cache on a sign at a lake. And so I'm volunteered to climb up on this sign, and I'm like feeling around for it. This guy stops and starts screaming at me that he painted that sign and you need to get down and what do you think you're doing? And I'm like, several of those events happening in a row kind of make you go,
yeah, this
is not that much fun. So there's that too. I mean, everybody has those stories, but
sure,
it gets tiresome after a little bit.
Yeah, it makes me think of the time I went because I'm very careful to make sure, like at the big park that I put all our caches in, they're all fairly well done, or they're interesting and all, different things. So I try to make them good, and I try to put them in places where hopefully people won't necessarily find them. And there's a couple that are like back in the woods, and you really have to go. You'd have to really be hunting. You either have to be geocaching, or you got to be unbelievably bored, and you're getting into an area where, you're not really. I don't know. You can't really hide back there. It's not like you're going back there for nefarious reasons, because you can kind of see the road. So, but you're off the road a little bit. Anyway, last time I had some caches out there, somebody said they couldn't find it. Good geocache owner, I go look for it. And I get out there, and it's not like the park, because I've talked to the park and rec department. They have given me approval to put my caches out there. So I don't think it's them. In fact, I know it's not them. But I get out there, and my cache is literally in tiny pieces, smashed to bits. And it wasn't like they tried to just break open to see if something's in it. It was like they went to a lot of trouble to completely obliterate it. It was a birdhouse, and it was in tiny, tiny pieces. So it wasn't like they just sort of broke into it. They went at it with malice, and so that's discouraging, because like, it's not yours. It's not hurting anybody. It's marked as a geocache, in case you're wondering. There's nothing in it that was of any value.
And you're mentioning doing everything right too. It looks like something that's supposed to be there. You got permission. It's marked, and it's still, those things happen.
Yeah.
But it's disappointing. You spend a lot of time, as a cache owner, but a cache hider, finder or hider too. But and somebody that can cause you to get in a little bit of a slump or a little bit discouraged. And when I've had ones that I spent a long time on, and they go missing, like after one finder. And you're like, I just spent 3 months working on that container, and that can be pretty frustrating and rough. Even doing all the right things like you did. Again, I know which park you're talking about, where you got permissions from the park and they know where everything is and it's supposed to be there, and things like that can get you down.
Well, and I had put out 5 really nice big, I had used ammo cans or like horse mineral buckets because they're waterproof. I put them along my property line because I thought surely these will be fine. They're right here by my house. And I wanted people to find something big, put out the kind of caches you like to find, right? So I had gone to the American Astronomical Society meeting. I had all this swag in them. I mean, I was so proud of these caches. And in one day, somebody took every single one of them. Every single one of them went missing the same day. And I was so furious that I just went, that's it. I'm not hiding any more geocaches. And that's part of what contributed to me kind of going, there's it's kind of like that perfect storm of things that happen, where, you're getting negative feedback from the person that you're dating. You're, having problems when you go out, try to look for caches, and then somebody steals them all. It's like, okay, I'm done. I'm just,
I think if we're honest, I know at least for me, I've had that exact same feeling and said the exact same words. I don't know about y'all too, but you get frustrated and you're like, I've never deleted my account, but like I said, I'm done. The time over. I'm deleting it all. I'm tearing up all my caches. Luckily, I have somebody that calms me down at the house, but I think we've all been through that. Yeah.
Isn't that what wives are supposed to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
I keep you out of jail.
I can't speak to that question. I'm not a wife, and I don't have one, so I can't speak to that question.
No, what's interesting though is, and Deborah and I've talked about this. Deborah has she has some really good friends out in the world. Pink Hitch, and her and I have talked back and forth, and we have to just try to encourage, because the reason we're kind of talking about this tonight, not just because we're trying to obviously encourage Deborah, but I think all of us have an opportunity to either if we're in this kind of situation, we're going to get to some ideas about what you can do. That's kind of the next section. But also, if we know somebody who is going through something like this, we want to try, is good geocaching, for folks to try, because we love our sport, that we just try to encourage and try to show them, some of the silver lining that's out there, and so.
And like Kendall, who's in the chat room. Hey, Kendall. Geocache is under Coon and Bud. We went the other day and did the Arkansas Star.
Oh, cool.
We went out and did that all in one morning. And we had a good time, and it was a lot of fun, and so I don't really consider, to me, having good friends that make you want to go do stuff, is really important. So and it's real. Go ahead.
Real quick. I'm just sorry. Tell me real quick. That's a geo art, correct?
Yeah, it's a geo art, and I think all the states have them. And there's 51 caches usually in them. So there's 50, I guess 50 for the 50 states plus the center. And you had for ours, I haven't looked at any others. I'm assuming they're all similar. You have to answer questions about the state's history.
Oh, cool.
Because it's a puzzle or a mystery cache. So I had actually.
Okay, all 50 of them are puzzle caches? I'm sorry.
Yes, all 50 of them are. Okay. Yeah. So I actually sat down one afternoon when it was raining and did them all, figured them all out, put them all in my phone, corrected all the coordinates, and then sat on them for probably, 6 to 8 months before we finally did that, And so, we did go to one of the state parks that was along the cache route too. So it's fun when you have people that are willing to go with you. I think that's my biggest thing. I will go if I have an interested party who wants to go.
Yeah.
But I won't just and I did go do Lake Lanier by myself. I did go do that one by myself. I was at a conference in Atlanta, and I thought, I will never be this close again. I'm 30 miles away. So I went. But, you know.
Which is a funny story, by the way. You did it.
Yeah, in a dress. In a dress. I do wear a dress from time to time. And I drove through apocalyptically appalling traffic to go to this thing. But I got there. And I will tell you a funny story, too. I was listening to another podcast called Southern Hollows. And it's about the kind of dark side of Southern history. And they were talking about some things that had happened in Forsyth County, Georgia, at Lake Lanier, which is where the geocache is. And I passed that Forsyth County sign and started driving through one of these towns they were talking about. And I was like going,
right.
Even though, you know, you're like, oh God, you know, even though this happened 100 years ago, you know,
right.
It was, oh yeah, I guess it's Kendall says the Periscope is out there. So,
oh yeah, Periscope's out there. Go check it out. Go check out. Deborah's out there in a dress.
In a dress, which is worth seeing, I suppose, because it doesn't happen very often.
That's awesome. So, you know, that's an example, and you know, we probably should mention it as we're kind of getting into that part of the show. We want to kind of mention suggestions to help people in a slump. And Deborah, you really hit the nail on the head there in that, you know, go find somebody that is willing to go with you and go geocaching with that person. I mean, we all have, hopefully, and if you don't, we'll mention in a minute what you should do. But let's say you do have a friend that's willing to go with you, like you said. Kendall's willing to go. We've met Kendall. He's a great guy, by the way. We love Kendall. He is. He's great. We actually got to meet him in Texas. Jesse and I
did the Texas Challenge. Yeah,
we did the Texas Challenge. Then we got to see him again up at Moga. So it was fun reconnecting with Kendall, and very generous.
Well, and I think the really important thing is community. I think community is really a big deal. And that's why I get frustrated when I see kind of bickering in the community. Like, I was really happy to see there was discussion about Pokemon Go on the discussion board. Yes, I'm 48 years old. I play Pokemon Go. If you want to start something with me, I will send you my address and you just come right up on in here and start it. My deal is, if you like geocaching, do it. If you don't like geocaching, don't do it. If you like Pokemon Go, play it. If you don't play it. But all this, or Munzie, I'm not interested in Munzie. It's not my thing. But if you like doing Munzie, get after it. You know, go for it. Run on out there and do whatever it is you do with those things. But this business of, this is stupid, that's stupid, why do we do this? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, stop that. Stop it. Just stop it. If you don't like something, don't do it. It's like, nobody's making you eat the hot salsa. Don't do it. But don't gripe at people who do like to do it. Just let them have a good time. The world is hard enough without people hollering that you're dumb because you're playing Pokemon Go.
Amen.
Stop
Amen to that. Amen. Amen, sister. Preach it. Because I'm right there with you.
That poor French person's not going to have any clue what I just said.
I don't know. Can you, y'all that do play Pokemon Go, and I don't play Pokemon Go, but I appreciate those that do. So I'm right with you, Deborah. I do Munzie, and you know, if you don't like it, don't play it. But can you Pokemon Go in France? Can you go anywhere?
You can go anywhere.
Sydney, is that because Sydney Pokemon
everywhere.
goes? Is it okay?
Yeah.
So you can find Pikachu and all those other good little items anywhere in the okay.
Yeah.
Well, and you can do it both at the same time. I geocache and play Pokemon Go and run my Rescue Walk dog app that marks how many steps I take to donate to the dog rescue all at once. Imagine that. You can do both.
I know, it's awesome. Yeah.
That bird got in my bonnet. I mean, I tell you what, that made. If you don't like Munzie, don't do it. I take my friend Carol gets out and does it, and I'm sitting in the car looking for Pokemon. I mean, it all works out. So quit squawking at each other about what you have to do.
Yes. or it's more of the quit squawking at other people doing something else. Let them do what they want to do, and you just let like you said, let people be. And Tom, Electric Water Boy, he Pokemon Goes, which he's old. He's really old. I mean, we're all old, but no, I'm kidding. Not you.
We're
Sydney,
not old.
You're a hope for the future right there.
We're the youngest we're ever going to be right now.
That's right. No, I kid Tom, but he's out there doing that. He's geocaching and Pokemon going. Just not let it go, people. Like Deborah said, just let it go. Let people have their fun.
I mean, my deal with this is anything that gets people outside is my thing. Get them outside, get them looking around, get them breathing some fresh air, get them going and looking at interesting places. Isn't that what we all want?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sorry, I
just inside geocaching. There's so many different things in geocaching, and we all joke around about it on this show, but it's just joking. It's supposed to be fun. Everybody's supposed to like different parts of it, and that's all okay. We can all do different things and still be at the same events and still share that common game and have fun, that community, without having to like the exact same things only. So if people could just remember that, we'd be a lot better.
It's kind of nice to have some diversity of people who like things, because if you ever do have like a competition where you need somebody that's really good at one thing, you kind of build a team of even the super power people, whatever, superheroes, they don't all have the same superpower. So why do we all have to like the same thing?
Exactly.
Lord.
Yes, absolutely. And Jesse brings up, great point. We've mentioned this before on the show, and it's something I think it's always worth mentioning, is that we have people who, Jennifer, Team AJK, she is a puzzle she loves puzzles. Even if she didn't even find the geocache, she wants to do puzzles. Let her do puzzles. Jesse wants to do 5-5s. Let the man do 5-5s. Don't bother him. Let him do his thing.
And that may be different in 6 months from now, right? I know at least for us, we get on a kick and we'll do a bunch of puzzles, and then we get burnt out on puzzles and we want to switch to multis for a little while, and or whatever it is, where I goes, or 5-5s, or just different counties. It can change from month to month or year to year. So
and that's what keeps it interesting. Yeah, I mean, I do the same thing, and that's what keeps it interesting. I'll spend, like that day I sat down and did all those Arkansas Star ones, and then Carol and I have this goal of we want to get to 100 Earth caches, so we've been kind of focusing on that. It's just keep whatever it is to keep everybody interested.
Sydney, 100 Earth caches, are you in?
I have 50 Earth cache finds, so
that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
I've actually signed a challenge for 100 Earth cache finds, so I'm gonna have to get there eventually.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I've done the reason I found those 3 on my trip is there's a challenge where you have to find one in 20 different states, and I needed 3 states.
Oh yeah.
So.
Wow, that is awesome. See, there you go. Challenges. That's a whole other show, and we don't know why, as Jesse says, why hasn't this thing grown or been addressed more? But that, if somebody gets into it and gets interested in it, oh my gosh, that could like regenerate your interest in geocaching like 100-fold. You could be like re-energized completely by that.
That's the best way to bust a slump, is just search around till you find a challenge and something totally you haven't thought of before, a way of caching you haven't thought of before, and now you got it's like a whole new game. You're trying to do something completely different than you ever thought of. So that would be my favorite way to bust a slump.
Yeah, and I'll mention another one real fast. Is the August? You made me think of this. Is the what Geocaching Vlogger has with Cache Advance? They have the August challenge. The geocaching challenge of the month for August is to find 3 caches in one day. They're at 3 different sizes. That's cool. I've never seen that, but you got to find any combination of the different ones. But you need to find 3 different ones. So that's a way to bust a slump, is to get out and go, you know what? We got to find a large, a small, and a micro, or whatever combination you want to go for.
Well, and I think that I like about the challenges is some of them are big and some of them are doable, you know, small. And like, you know, doing your Jasmer, that's what I call a big challenge. That's a big one. Or a fizzy, you know, or even doing your DT grid to me is a big, you know, and you just got to eat that elephant one bite at a time. But you know, but I like some of the, like the find one in 20 states. That's a more doable to me size challenge. You know, so I like the fact that there's a lot of variety there, and that kind of has gotten me more interested because, you know, I like a challenge.
Sure. So Sydney, you've not been able to say too much because we're hogging the airways tonight. But do you have a particular way? Have you been in a slump that you know that you remember? And do you have a particular thing that you like to do to kind of break out of a slump?
Sure. Well, since I started, my longest slump statistically has been something like 26 days. And that was in the middle of February in central New York. And it was snowing and it was cold. And I did not want to go outside ever. So that, you know, the whole going outside thing is, you know, a big part about geocaching. So if it's really hard to go outside every day, it makes it a little hard to go geocaching.
Very true.
But so that was the only time I've, you know, had a slump, I would say. Okay. But I also haven't been geocaching that long compared to you guys, I think. I've only been caching 3 years, less than 3 years. So, you know, I guess I'm not sick of it yet. I'm not bored with it. But some days I just don't feel like it. Other days, you know, I do. But along the lines with something Deborah said with the people, there's always going to be people that are going to be snarky and whatever. And I've left Facebook groups because I'm just sick of people bickering and arguing. And you just can't have people in your life like that are going to keep bringing you down. As hard as it may be, you may have to cut some of those people in your community out of your group of friends or your usual people that you go caching with, just because you just can't keep that negativity in your life, you know, all the time. You got to surround yourself with people that are going to encourage you and they're going to be happy to hang out with you and they're not going to bicker and argue with you about every little thing.
Yes, absolutely.
I could not agree more with that.
Yeah.
I think that's so important because it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a game. We don't win cash prizes for it. It's supposed to be fun, and you should be able to go out and have lighthearted fun with your friends and do it without a lot of that snarkiness.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I mean, you know, a slump to me, sometimes your priorities just have to change. I mean, my longest slump was 160 something days when my parents were very ill.
Right.
You know, I mean, and that you have other priorities sometimes. And I don't really consider that a slump when you have to sit something aside for a period of time and say, I will take care of this first, but I'm still interested in this. It's just, I don't have the time to dedicate to it right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
To me, that's not that I found it boring or that I didn't enjoy it. It's just, you know, priorities have to be, you know, reshifted, you know. Yes. And I mean, that's like this year, you know, the semester after Carol got through doing the long-term substituting, I taught overload in the spring. So I was so tired, like you said, Gary, by the time I got home, I was like, I'm not leaving the house.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit right here in my house pants with my flip-flops, and I'm going to eat some ice pops, and I am watching YouTube, and I am not leaving this house.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right.
Well, and before we run out of time, I want to throw one out there for people, too, that maybe not necessarily a slump, and I don't know that it's ever brought me out of a slump, but I think it's a potential way to do it, and it kind of re-energizes you, is introduce somebody new. Yes. It's so much fun. If you've ever introduced somebody brand new to the game, and no matter what you take them to, the couple, hopefully something good and exciting, but seeing that excitement on their face for the first time, that just, oh my gosh, this is all around me and I didn't know about it, that makes you really want to go out and just start caching like crazy after that, because you see that initial excitement that you had when you found, at least for me it does anyway, you know, because that was that big light bulb moment when somebody told me about caching. I was like, oh, there's no way this is all around me.
Well,
and
or
then you
traveling.
Somebody else is crazy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, absolutely. Or traveling somewhere, because geocaching is a great tour guide. I mean, you know, if you're going to a city, it's a great tour guide, and that kind of energizes you too, because you're like, oh yeah, I forgot I could do that, you know. So I think there's that also.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, besides events, the last time we found some caches was when we were traveling, and then next weekend I won't be on the show because I'll be traveling and I'll be in Vegas and getting to find a couple of caches that are in this book.
Oh wait!
I can't remember the name of that book.
I got the book right here. It is. There it is. The 201.
There's that book I was talking about. Yeah, I get to get 2 of the ones on the top most favorited cache list. 2 of the Vegas caches in there. So
that product placement.
There you go.
Look at that. 201 geocaches to find before you die.
Available on Amazon right now.
But planning that's got us excited. You know, we get to go and find these caches that we've been talking about on the show and reading about in books, and so that's fun. That's exciting right there. Planning that going out of town trip.
Yeah, well, see, and I've got a big plan for my 50th, oh lordy, birthday in 2019. The UK Mega is going to be in Aberdeenshire, which is where I used to date a Scotsman for many years, and I'm still friends with his family. So I'm going. That's my 50th birthday to myself, is I'm going to that event.
Awesome.
So
that's good. A great thing to plan. Yeah. And Jesse, I love your idea. Something that Susan mentioned in the chat room is to take children. You know, we have some soon-to-be grandchildren by marriage, so we've been able to spend some time with them already as we get ready for that great day in November when my son gets married. And we took them geocaching, and watching their excitement of a bison tube in a tree. I mean, or a cache along the side of a road that, you know,
LPC. It's okay. Say it.
It wasn't actually. This one wasn't an LPC, but it was a little
guardrail.
No, it wasn't a guardrail, but
still okay. It's still the coolest thing when you first find your first one. I don't care.
Yes, and you know, like she was thinking, it's like, and like you're saying, Jesse, it's like you got to stop. And this was what I did. I did exactly what you're talking about. Stop and go. You know, this is fun. I mean, we get too jaded by this idea of lampposts or I still get excited to find a lamppost cache. It's a cache. I used a phone with some coordinates to find a cache. I mean, you know, guardrail. We joked about on US Geocaching Hour. Somebody was just like went off on one of the I don't know if it's Travis or it was somebody, so they showed them. They went and hid like 100 guardrail caches just to spite them, because, you know, if as long as it's not interfering with, you know, obviously you can't, because we all, you know, 528 feet away, but again, just somehow you got to get back to the joy of that. You go to, you know, you can satellites and Deborah, we've had on this show and Cache Release, we talked about how incredible it is that you got these satellites that are
talking to each other.
They're talking, and we can talk to them through our phones. You know, we have GPSs in our phones now. Also, we have GPS receivers. But just the fact that technology is unbelievable when you stop and think about. I mean, Deborah, tell everybody what you do real fast.
I'm a professor of astrophysics. The first woman full professor ever in our department.
There you go.
August 15th, yes. So
it's exciting. And so talking about the science of it is exciting to find that, you know, we get too, you know, flippant, I think, about you're finding a geocache using a phone or a GPS, or, you know,
and you have to decide to have a good time. I mean, you can get, like you said, jaded and in a rut, but to me, going with that friend, I mean, Carol and I will get to laughing about the stupidest stuff. And those are the things that make that make the experience. It's the experience. It's not that light. I mean, I found a light post cache last week. I saw some nefarious activity at that light post cache, which I was like, oh, you shouldn't be with. That's not your boyfriend. What are you doing? But anyway, I didn't say anything. But you have to. It's the experience. Okay, it's not the cache itself. It's the journey, not the destination, right? So yes. I think we have to remember that, and and that helps me when I get kind of in a snit.
Well, and we have a game where we go and find stuff, right? That's the basics of the game, no matter how you get there to it. And people all over the world have hidden millions of them for us to go find. That's still fun. You know what I mean? And it doesn't cost you a dime. I mean, well, depending on how far you're traveling and everything else, but for each one, it doesn't cost you a dime to find them. And people have hidden them everywhere. You could get down to the basics of it, and you have a game that you would play as a little kid or as an adult, and they're everywhere. You cannot travel anywhere and not be able to play the game.
Well,
so that's pretty fun.
North Korea.
Yeah. Okay. One place. Sydney had to mention the one place in the world that you. I mean,
just throwing it out there. If you're going to North Korea, there's no geocaches there.
Okay. Well, there you go. See, we need to.
Maybe there should be.
Yeah, there should be. Yeah, we should.
Maybe they wouldn't be so crazy. It would be nice.
Go run across the border and hide one and hope for the best. No.
Yeah.
Oh no! Don't. I didn't tell you to do that.
Do not do that. Public service announcement.
Right. It's PSA.
No, I say do it. Go for it and let us know about it.
Do not try to
interview you on the show.
That's what's going to cause World War III is an air.
Oh my God.
The Derek Geocache.
Hey, that'd be another Geocache talk first, right? I don't think any other podcast has caused a world war before. So.
No, we're going to be first. No, hopefully we won't be the first on that one. But all right, we're getting kind of toward the end, so we're going to throw out the question, and then we're going to start the process of wrapping up tonight. But we have a question, and Deborah is going to show the coin. Oh, look at that!
It's a Sunrise Bay octopus.
That is awesome looking. That is a nice coin. Look at it's big 3D coin. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah, that's a great coin. It is perfect. So the question tonight, and if you're in the chat room, we are going to take the first answer that is correct. And the question is, when was the last time that Deborah, Jesse, Sydney, and I were all together in one spot? And what was the event that we were all at together? So
tick. So it's a race.
It's a race. So think about it. And we'll take the first answer here in a couple minutes. When's the last time the four of us were together at a event?
There you go. Winner already.
Electric Water Boy.
Boy. Should he really get it? Come on now.
Winner. Yes, he was there. Oh, Ryan was close.
Ryan was right in behind it. Oh,
Kendall.
Everybody came in right behind him.
What's funny, Robert Owens just did Geo Woodstock. He figured, I'm going to shoot for all 15 of them.
There you go.
Smart move. Oh, Tom's even like dinner. Yeah, he's like even more. Well, because Tom happened to be at that dinner. So.
Oh, that's right.
Yep,
that's true.
Yep. He did.
Yep, Tick Magnet. You're right.
My birthday event. We were all eating dinner at the birthday thing.
Yep.
So
that's good. So all right. So as we wrap up tonight, final thoughts, and then I'll mention upcoming shows. So, Deborah, hang on. I'll get to you last. Sydney, what are your final thoughts for tonight?
So, one more point that I want to bring up.
Yes.
It's how do I want to say this? People like gain new hobbies and interests constantly, but that doesn't mean that you are giving up on anything you are interested in before. For instance, I used to be like geocaching all the time. I still like geocaching, but now I like to play Dungeons and Dragons with my friends. So, some people like to play Pokemon Go. I like to play Pokemon Go. There's many things that I like to do, but that doesn't mean I'm less interested in geocaching, any less than I was before. Right. So that's just like a natural thing that happens. So it's okay to have multiple hobbies and interests, and you may have to put one to the side a little bit to pick up something new and interesting you do like, and that's great, I think.
Yep. Very much, yes. Jesse?
I agree with what Sydney says. I think I as well have tons of hobbies, and some of them overlap with geocaching and some of them don't, but that doesn't mean, that makes me like geocaching any less or more or whatever else. Geocaching is a fun game, and I think we hit on it pretty good in the show, but it's a game. It's supposed to be fun, and there's going to be ups and downs. You don't do anything 24/7 all the time. You would have to be, pretty obsessive to be in that category. You're going to have ups and downs, but you got to get back and remember how much fun it is as a game. Introduce somebody new, try something different, or just take a break for a little bit. That's not terrible. You can take a week off from geocaching and you'll survive. It's supposed to be fun. When it stops being fun, that's when you've got a problem. There's too many things in the game to not be having fun with it. So,
absolutely. Well, very well said. And so, Deborah, we're going to let you give us the last word tonight.
Well, I think you have to decide what's a slump for you. You can't look at what anybody else is doing. I mean, if, like Sydney said, my big thing, if you follow me on Instagram or on Twitter or with me on Facebook, if I have a choice between getting on a horse and pretty much anything else, horses win, because that's what fires me up, and that's what my passion. But I enjoy geocaching. I think it's a lot of fun, but my approach to it, I guess, has changed as I have matured as a cacher, whatever you want to call it. I do, and that's the way I keep it fun. Is I focus on the ones I like to do, and I try not to judge myself by anybody else. I try not to judge myself by anybody else. Oh, they went every week, or and when those people, there's people like to talk, and when they start trying to make you kind of feel a little bit down about yourself, you just have to, like Sydney said, tune that stuff out, and do what makes you happy and make it a fun experience. Get out there with some friends, show somebody new the game, and that's what keeps it fresh. So I don't think it's a slump until you give up completely, until you just go, no, I'm done, and mean it.
Yeah.
I mean it. Other than that, I think it's just you're taking a break, or you just haven't had time to go. I wouldn't call that a slump. I would say you just do it and enjoy it, and then let it ride. That's what Willie says.
Yeah, there you go. Willie, you're exactly correct.
Yes.
Thanks, Willie, for being around and
and being quiet.
Willie was very quiet tonight. That's awesome. So, all right, very good. So, coming up on the show next week, we're going to be talking about geocaching regrets, caches we wish we hadn't have missed, and Jesse reminds me in the show notes that he was not going to be here.
I'll regret not being here.
Yeah, you'll regret that you weren't here for the show. That's okay. That thing happened.
He's not going to regret going to Vegas.
No, he will not. No, he's not. Definitely.
19th year wedding anniversary. So, woohoo, fun for us.
So the 19 year is the Vegas anniversary? Is that what that
Officially,
is?
yes. That's written somewhere.
Yeah, 19.
It's like gold for some other things. It's 19 for Vegas. So
yeah. 5 is paper, 25 is golden, or whatever. 19 is Vegas. Just people have to realize that. So we're going to regret that Jesse's not with us next week, but that's okay. Jesse, you might want to. Well, I don't know. We'll probably do this. We'll probably do this kind of show again in the future because it's a big topic. But we're going to do geocaching regrets next week, and then the week after. Again, don't hate us. This is just what Deborah said. Don't hate us, but we are going to talk about another sport, and we're going to have on the actual owner of this other sport. So we're going to have on 3-dimensional Rob. If you play Munzie, there's a type of Munzie called Flat Rob.
She was excited it might be Pokemon.
No, sorry.
No, I knew it.
That'd be interesting. We need to figure out if we can find the whoever started. I know it's the people that started Ingress or part of Ingress, I guess. So
there's a really, it would be fun to do that.
We'll have to work on that one. But anyway, so 3-Dimensional Rob will be on in a couple weeks. And then, as I mentioned, Jolene and Yeno are going to be on the show in 3 weeks at a special time on August 27th. We're gonna do the show at 3 p.m. because it will be 10 p.m. their time in Belgium. But I got an update tonight that they're getting ready. The coffee shop isn't open yet, but they're going to give us an update on where they're at and also about their traveling and their YouTube channel and all their geocaching that they do. And they're great fun. Their English is really good, and it's much better than my Dutch. So look forward to that. No, they're very good. He was apologizing for his English, and I'm thinking, you sound great. I mean, so there's not going to be a problem. Her English is great too. So she was mostly letting do the most of the talking, but there was one point, and they were talking Dutch to each other, so it was kind of fun to hear them.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great because I would say something, and I think they both understood, but they were both like talking back and forth Dutch, and then would say, "Yes, this will be perfect." It's whatever. So it was great fun. So anyway. Looking forward to that show and all our shows that we do. I think we do quality stuff, don't you guys think? I mean, we had Deborah on. I mean, that's pretty sweet right there.
I don't know about all that, but thank you.
Well, folks, we hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Please email us your comments, and we've been getting a lot of those lately, and we're so thankful for that. So keep the comments coming. At geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or all the other places I mentioned earlier that we're out on now. And you can follow us on Twitter at Geocache Talk. I'm at Gary Slinkard, all one word. Jesse's at Memphis_Mafia. Sydney's at Shermanator GC, and Deborah's at Docfirewoman, all one word. Mm-hmm. And Facebook at facebook.com/geocache talk. And what I mentioned earlier, the show can be found on iTunes and lots of places now. So if there's a favorite that you have other than the ones we've mentioned, email me and I'll make sure the show is on that particular podcast provider that you prefer. And also you can go to our Geocache Talk website, geocachetalk.com, and find lots of cool stuff. And that's where our old shows are, all our audio, and so that's always a good resource for you as well. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button below so that you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching. Remember how much fun it is, and go geocaching. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
All right.
Bye, Willie.
Bye.